Well, a day after the BJP struck a hat-trick in the state of Haryana, becoming the only party since the inception of the state of Haryana in 1966 to come back to power for the third time, it's the Congress party that's facing the heat. Remember, the party has been sitting in the opposition for the last 10 years. This time it was hopeful of defeating the BJP, but that hasn't happened. It continues to be in the opposition. Now, allies, India bloc allies have questioned the Congress party strategies and also its abilities to take on the BJP when it comes to a direct fight between the BJP and the Congress party. It's not just the Haryana, even in Jammu, the Congress party has managed to just win one seat. It was a direct fight between the BJP and Congress, and it's the BJP that has managed to strengthen its position in Jammu, even as the NC continues to reign supreme in the whole of J&K. But allies on offensive, Congress on the back foot now, specifically with regard to its Haryana performance, where it performed not as per expectations and will continue to be part of opposition.
Absolutely, Vasudha. Now, India allies hitting out at the Congress over the Haryana laws. It's not just the Aam Aadmi Party or the TMC, but also Uddhav Sena that has slammed the Congress party. Uddhav Sena mouthpiece Saamana has mocked the Congress, saying that the Congress needs to learn from the Haryana laws. And it also went on to mention that K. Selja was publicly humiliated during the polls. Well, we do understand there was infighting going on between the Selja camp and the Huda camp, and that was certainly out in the public, and that's what the that's what has been mentioned in UBT mouthpiece Saamana. The Congress High Command failed to curb the infighting. That is what it has said. Now, what the TMC has said. TMC has said that it's the arrogance of the Congress that has led to the loss for the Congress party in Haryana. Not just that, Aam Aadmi Party boss Arvind Kejriwal also has hit out at the Congress party for the infighting, taking the infighting jibe at the Congress party.
Well, Aam Aadmi Party is also in some ways justified in its anger against the Congress Party because it was a state unit of, led by Hudas, which also led to the Aam Aadmi Party Congress deal not working out. TMC, of course, Mamata Banerjee has never been part of the India Alliance before elections. She has always had problems with Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary and the state unit. But, of course, all allies taking pot shots at the Congress Party. Let's first listen into what Sanjay Raut of Shiv Sena UBT said today.
हरियाणा में इंडिया गठबंधन नहीं बन पाया क्योंकि वहां कांग्रेस को लगता था कि बस हम अपने ताकत पर अपने बलबूते पर जीतेंगे तो सत्ता में और कोई भागीदार नहीं चाहिए। तो हमारे जो मित्र है हुड्डा जी या कांग्रेस के नेता है उनको लगा कि हम ही जीतेंगे। अगर समाजवादी पार्टी है अखिलेश जी की, आप है केजरीवाल साहब के नेतृत्व में, हमारे जैसे छोटे छोटे दल है, हमारे खाते में 1-2 सीटें आ जाती तो जरूर ये जो चित्र है, ये निर्णय है जो जनता ने दिया, उसमें जरूर बदलाव होता। मैं ये मानता हूं कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने जो चुनाव लड़ा है वो बहुत ही बेहतरीन तरीके से लड़ा है। हारी हुई बाजी बीजेपी ने जीत ली, ये मान्य करना पड़ेगा।
Sanjay Raut of Shiv Sena UBT making an important point there, alleging that the Congress party did not give due importance to its own allies, including Samajwadi Party and Aam Aadmi Party. Remember, these were parties that were eyeing for a few seats. Of course, those deals did not really work out. And Aam Aadmi Party has managed to get a little bit of vote share in certain parts of Haryana, including in the district of Kurukshetra. Going across to my colleagues, Sujata, who reports from Mumbai, and of course, Saurabh Gupta, who is joining us from Kolkata. Sujata, to you first, this is a very sharp attack on the Congress party by Shiv Sena, led by UBT, and it comes at a very critical time because the seat sharing arrangement talks are going on, and there has been an implicit understanding that there will not be a CM face, and this is not something that the Uddhav Thackeray faction of the party wants. They want Uddhav Thackeray to be designated as a CM face. So clearly, Congress facing a lot of heat from its Mahavikas Aghadi allies.
Well, yes, and speaking on that, it was Uddhav Thackeray who was being seen up and looked up as the chief ministerial face in the upcoming elections. But this time it was the seat sharing that somewhere led to a tussle that was happening, where Congress did ask for a lion's share in this entire seat sharing talks. But after the Haryana poll, it is somewhere that the Saamana as well as Uddhav Balasaheb Thackeray's various leaders, including Sanjay Raut, have been clearly, mocking Congress for their performance and also how somehow it was a ready-to-win elections for the Congress, but it was their overconfidence and also the factionalism that led to this incident happening, where the Congress did not turn up to form their government, and the move of the Congress to go solo in the elections eventually led to them losing the elections. So somewhere Sanjay Raut definitely hinting at things not going right with the Congress in the Haryana, and also, but he did say that this will not impact or affect the upcoming Vidhan Sabha polls in Maharashtra at all. But what remains to be seen that this statement at this appointed time, where the seat sharing talks are underway until the 12th of October, it is the Mahavikas Aghadi who has to finalize their seat sharing talks, and where in Mumbai and several other regions in Maharashtra, after the Lok Sabha polls, the Congress is demanding a lion's share in the seats. However, will they be given that or not, considering and taking in review of their recent Lok Sabha, Vidhan Sabha, as well as the recent results that has come out in Haryana? It is somewhere a big doubt with regards to the Mahavikas Aghadi integrity and unity at this point. But what, a message that Sanjay Raut did give was praising the BJP for its performance, stating that it was a loss for the BJP as per what the exit polls did show, but it was BJP who converted it into a win. So somewhere Sanjay Raut at this point against the Congress and mocking them for the
Developments here,
performance.
Sujata. I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you, Sujata. Looking at the developments that have taken place now, with the UBT now hitting out of the Congress party, looks like the Congress is certainly on the back foot here and seems to be losing the negotiating muscle when it comes to talks with the alliance partners over this seat sharing. Let me go across to Saurabh also here. Saurabh, not just the UBT or the Aam Aadmi party, but also the TMC now hitting out at the Congress party, with Saket Gokhale putting out this tweet saying that arrogance, entitlement and looking down on regional parties is a recipe for disaster.
Absolutely. And with the Trinamool Congress and the Congress party, specifically in the West Bengal context, this has been a problem. Now, even if you look at the Lok Sabha elections, the seat sharing deal did not work out between the Trinamool and the Congress party. Because the number of seats that the Congress demanded was something that the Trinamool felt that the Congress didn't have the wherewithal to win. Now, in a state like West Bengal, of course, the situation may be slightly reversed for the Congress, where it is, of course, the smaller partner and the Trinamool is the larger party in terms of organization, vote share and number of seats won in previous elections. But look at it from the national picture and look at regional parties and how, the Congress can form alliances with them. And like Sujata was explaining, for example, whether it's the chief ministerial face in Maharashtra, in Uddhav Balasaheb Thackeray, or whether it's the Congress in states like Haryana, where, many believe that perhaps an alliance with the Aam Aadmi party could have bettered the chances of the Congress party, because the results clearly didn't go as they expected. So in West Bengal too, the Trinamool has been saying is that the Congress needs to adopt a change in its attitude towards regional parties, which it can partner, because the larger sort of anti-BJP platform on the anti-BJP political forces in the country can come together. But for that, the Congress needs to, stop acting as the big brother when it comes to regional forces. And that's something that perhaps is an issue we will see in recurring elections vis-a-vis seat sharing negotiations. We are already seeing it in Maharashtra, like Sujata was explaining. In West Bengal, that has happened during the Lok Sabha elections. There was no seat sharing deal and it didn't go well for the Congress. The Congress actually, lost a seat from the last time. Adit Chaudhary, who was vehemently against an alliance with the Trinamool, lost his own seat.
Saurabh will come back to you.
Saurabh, and also going across to Aishwarya now, Saurabh is making a very important point here. Of course, TMC was never part of the India bloc, when the elections began, and of course when the India bloc was formed. And Mamata Banerjee has always had problems with the way Congress leadership behaved, not really consulting people when it comes to presidential candidate or vice presidential candidate. But the BJP also has in some ways a narrative role to play in this, and this is why I would like to get Aishwarya on this. Aishwarya, the Prime Minister spoke about how the Congress party has always been dependent on allies. In fact, he has always called the Congress party parasite-like. That's a very sharp attack. And yesterday he said that, he repeated it. So how is the BJP looking at Congress party facing all this criticism, attack from its own allies?
Well, yesterday as well, it was Prime Minister Narendra Modi who sharpened his attack on the Congress party, stating that it's one royal family that is that lives in a 5-star, and they want to govern the entire country. They do not go to the roots, and they're dependent on their allies. And whenever there had been alliance with the Congress party, in fact, the Congress party had suffered, and that too we have seen in the state of Haryana and also in the national capital as well. The Congress and Aam Aadmi Party, remember, were in alliance in the national capital as well for the Lok Sabha polls. We faced a 7-0 defeat in all the 7 Lok Sabha constituencies in Haryana as well. There was no alliance that was made, and therefore it impacted. And largely, if we see the data coming out from the Election Commission of India as far as the vote share is concerned, majorly where the Bharatiya Janata Party had won these seats with a margin of close to 1,000 to 2,000, there were several of those constituencies where Aam Aadmi Party got at least those number of votes which can cut the Congress share and had gained to the Bharatiya Janata Party ultimately. So of course in the Bharatiya Janata Party is looking at region wise, and the senior leadership had clearly stated to us that every state elections are different, every polls are different for them, and they make their strategies according to that particular region as well. And looking at different states coming up in the elections, whether it is Delhi, Jharkhand, Maharashtra, they will be making their strategy according to what the opposition is also thinking on. So clearly, the BJP is thinking far more ahead. Of course, the strategies are being made at this level when the election dates are not only announced. There are several meetings that had been done in different states, including Maharashtra, Jharkhand, and Delhi. There had been already in charges that have been made. They have been stationed at those states. So BJP strategy is very different, as they say that BJP is always in election mode around the year.
Right. Thank you, Aishwarya. So, a resounding victory of the BJP in Haryana, this hat-trick that the BJP scored in Haryana yesterday, and the setback to the Congress party that continues to be in opposition in Haryana, of course, will have political consequences, because while it puts the BJP in a stronger footing in the upcoming elections, particularly in the states of Haryana, like our colleagues were also talking about, and of course, in Jharkhand, there is a price that the Congress will have to pay politically, electorally, in terms of seats, in terms of narrative, in terms of the way its own allies see it. And that's what we will discuss today. Joining us now is Tarun Upadhyay, who is a senior journalist. And we also have Sajjan Kumar, who is a political commentator and author. Thank you both of you for joining us on this show. Sajjan, to you first. There is an increase in vote share. There is an increase in also seat share of the BJP. But what these election results have also done for the party largely is, in some ways, it has vindicated the positioning of the party in terms of its popularity, especially after what we saw in 2024, Lok Sabha elections. On the 4th of June, there was the slight doubt that the popularity of the PM is probably not as much as people thought it was, and clearly that the BJP probably is in a state of decline. Now, all of that in some ways has been proved wrong, because in Jammu, the party has strengthened its position, and in Haryana, it looks like it's a force that is going to stay, because clearly a big vote share and a historic hat-trick. How do you see BJP's positioning nationally and the impact on the Congress party?
Yeah, Vasudha, two things. One, coming to Congress, you see a colossal gap between the rhetoric that Rahul Gandhi has been using for the last couple of years, a very radical pro-Dalit, pro-tribal, and pro-weaker section egalitarian rhetoric. But when it comes to the real politics, they happen to do just the opposite, choosing the dominant intermediary communities or caste who have a feudal trait as their prime anchor. So you have to do either one of them. You cannot nail them together. So this is a gross misfit. So for example, choosing communities like Jat at their prime anchor, or say, for example, Marathas in Maharashtra, while talking about the radical Dalit interests, etc., it doesn't gel together because the ground experience is completely different, and that leads to the kind of disaster which has been there. So this is one. Two, for BJP, the impact is going to be colossal. One, mind it, Haryana has been a state wherein all the narrative that hit BJP very strongly in the Lok Sabha election, be it on the plank of farmers issue, be it on the plank of Agniveer, and also on the plank of racial protest. So that was Pahalwan, Jawan and Kisan, while it was supposed to decimate BJP's normative edge, which has been declining or perceivably declining since Lok Sabha election. Now, this electoral victory in Haryana is not just a simple arithmetic victory. It is a defeat of the narrative. How do you now attack the Agniveer? Because it is in the state of Haryana that BJP has been vindicated. Now, you cannot go to Bengal and Maharashtra and criticize Agniveer scheme. Similarly, on the farmers' plank also, there has been an endorsement. So that way, whatever be the case on the ground, in terms of the normative age, in terms of the narrative kind of a war, Haryana victory is going to resonate across India, and immediately it is going to have the resonance in Maharashtra, because mind it, there also we already see the kind of uncomfort within the India alliance. But more important would be, will you allow a dominant section in Maharashtra, say like Marathas, cater to their own interest in the name of farmer, in the name of soldier, in the name of so many other occupational identity, while the rest who would be expected to just be the supporting band? So that sort of a Congress kind of a radical narrative of the weaker section, while making the dominant feudal reactionary section, be it KAP or a section of other reactionary forces, as their prime anchor to defeat BJP,
So this
is
Jawan
not going to
Pahalwan
work.
assessment that the Congress had, it definitely has gone wrong. It hasn't worked in the favor of the Congress party. And of course, this victory in Haryana is definitely what many are calling as a booster shot for the BJP. Going forward in elections in Maharashtra, Jharkhand or Delhi that is going to take place next year, of course, this definitely has come as a boost for the BJP. Celebrations had been taking place yesterday all day, and today also, of course, important meetings that are taking place. Haryana government formation, of course, is going to be in focus now, but nevertheless, let me go across to Mr. Tarun Upadhyay also. What has gone wrong for the Congress here? We do understand the India allies are now hitting out at the Congress party over their loss in Haryana. The Aam Aadmi Party chief, Arvind Kejriwal, has said that the biggest lesson to be drawn from this loss in Haryana is never be overconfident. Stronger words being used by other allies. TMC saying arrogance is a recipe for disaster, and that's what has happened to the Congress here. Going forward, they're going to lose the negotiating muscle here, sir, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you in all the terms which you have stated, that it's a mix-up of all the things which you have stated, the arrogance, the overconfidence. And the party, I think, was believing that it will win by default. I will give you one instance, one or two instances. The party has got just 6 seats in J&K, just 1 seat from the Jammu region and 5 from the Kashmir region. It is the lowest tally of the party in the entire political history of Jammu and Kashmir. The last time its tally was 7 seats, that was in the 1996. So you can well understand how low the party has hit, not only across the country, but also especially in Jammu and Kashmir. There are a couple of factors to be analyzed why the the result was so. Firstly, unlike the Prime Minister, who addressed, I think, about 7 to 8 rallies across Jammu and Kashmir, mostly focusing on the Jammu region, Home Minister Amit Shah addressed about a dozen rallies, even in the remote areas of Jammu region, in the Kishtwar, where no person of his stature has addressed the rally before. That shows the conviction and the strategy of the party. Look at the Congress. Rahul Gandhi addressed just 4 rallies in the entire political campaign across the Jammu and Kashmir. Secondly, Priyanka Gandhi addressed just 1 rally in the Jammu region. And thirdly, I traveled across the Jammu region for the coverage of these elections. We could hardly see the party flags, even next door to the candidates who was contesting from their own constituencies. There were so many issues on the platter for the Congress party. I mean, there was a lot of
The Congress party
disenchantment.
continues to blame the EVM, sir. EVMs are to be blamed. That is what the Congress party
No. But
is
the same
back
EVM,
at, the
but
old textbook
the same
that they're
EVMs
following.
gave the party 100 seats in the last parliamentary elections. Then how can they blame the EVMs? I mean, the point is that the party has to think: does it want to be a politically serious player or not? Or you just want to make up some alibi and blame either the EVM or the election commission? That won't work. The point is the party is not getting traction. And
So
that is
clearly the
that is the
party's
reason.
narrative, like both of you are also saying, has to be in tandem with, the central leadership. And like Sajjan was also pointing out, there can't be a discord between what the state leadership is doing and what the central leadership is doing. There can't be, that kind of, lack of coordination even in theorizing what you really want for people. But, like Kitty was also saying that these elections will have an impact on the upcoming Delhi elections as well, where the Aam Aadmi Party, of course, is a stronger force, and Congress Party has been decimated a number of times in the last few years, and the BJP is an emerging force. So let's listen into what Aam Aadmi Party Supremo Arvind Kejriwal said yesterday on the prospects of the Congress Party and how it needs to sort of rework on its strategy.
पहली चीज़ तो किसी भी चुनाव को हल्के में नहीं लेना चाहिए। अभी तो पता नहीं नतीजे क्या हैं, लेकिन आज के चुनाव से सबसे बड़ी सबक यही है कि ओवर कॉन्फिडेंस मत करना कभी भी। किसी भी चुनाव को हल्के में नहीं लेना चाहिए। हर चुनाव कठिन होता है, हर चुनाव में हर सीट कठिन होती है, मेहनत करनी है।
Okay, going back to Sajjan. Sajjan, I would want you to talk a little bit more about the social anti-incumbency. So while the Jats were not in power, there is a certain feudal social order that is in place in several states. Is that what also, contributes to people making political choices? Because like you said, lived experiences cannot be, dismissed. So while Rahul Gandhi is going to Dalit kitchens, why are the Dalits of Haryana not voting for him?
Even Uddhav lost his seat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, precisely because of, this entire Bahujan, I mean, the root, let's digress a bit. Mayawati's and Kashiram's experiment of Bahujan discourse had a kind of a very decisive blow in the very genesis itself in the early 1990s, when they tried to come together with the Samajwadi Party and ground experience, and thereafter they changed from Bahujan to Sarvajan, and that was an electoral success. In Haryana, coming to Haryana, Jats are 25%. They have, in terms of they own almost kind of 1/3 of the land. Similarly, they also have the political clout, they have the financial clout, and thereafter they also have a bureaucratic presence. So that way, coupled with that, there is a sense of owning the state. Similarly, you find, say, for example, among the Marathas in Maharashtra, so that sort of a very domineering presence. So this is one. So what happens? It's a question of the memory. So when BJP was there for 10 years, and there were certainly so many drawbacks and lacunas in governance on the governance index. So there was political anti-incumbency. But what Congress did, by completely relying on one community, one leader who have a decisive say, it ended up triggering the memory of, something which is an everyday reality. And therefore, what happens that since Jats are so domineering, they also started making strong noises, and therefore whatever narrative we were getting was from their perspective. Why something that the non-Jats in Haryana could break down and we did not do it before the election was that they also have the moral plank of projecting their caste identity tactically in forms of the occupational identity. So they can become a farmer, they can become a soldier, they can become a wrestler, but the non-Jats could see through it that primarily it's the vested interest of one community. When Congress becomes their prime anchor, Congress becomes someone who caters to their interest. While you talk big, talk progressive, certainly people are going to choose because people have one vote,
They
and it
had
is a
this
weaker
fear
section.
in them, probably that is what is being talked about, that the other communities.
Let me just briefly add. Indian Institute of Dalit Studies in 2022 conducted a study sanctioned by Haryana Social Justice Ministry, and they found out that of all the atrocities until now committed on Dalits, is the official study, 52% are Jats, 30%, and that's surprising, in Mewat region happens to be Muslims. So when you talk about the Dalit, Muslim and Jat unity, doesn't have a sociological ground resonance.
Okay. Tarun Upadhyay, where does the Congress go from here, sir? Because, I would disagree with Sajjan on this because, all parties do focus on the dominant communities, be it even the BJP focusing on Patidars in Gujarat or the Lingayat communities in Karnataka. So these political compulsions are sometimes really, sort of difficult to challenge and navigate. And the social order is something that even parties forget to accumulate or include as part of their strategy. But Mr. Upadhyay, how do you see the Congress reworking its strategy from here, because its own allies are attacking the Congress party for being a big brother, but for not really listening to them?
party is acting like a big brother, but not listening to the ground realities and also to its allies. Sanjan was making a point, and you also made a point with regard to the scheduled caste. In Jammu region, that there are 5 seats of the SC community, and the Congress lost all the 5 seats. So this reflects how much resonance the party the rhetoric is getting on the ground. Secondly, you talked about this. The party high command and the leaders who are on the ground, they should act in a tandem. But what I personally got to know that the high command was given a picture that the party is doing absolutely doing wonders in the Jammu region. And look at the hard reality, just got the 1 vote. So that is the way the party functioning. Party is basically, in my opinion, of covering this political scene in the Jammu and Kashmir and also the rest of the countries, the party works in a very bureaucratic manner. The ground realities are not given to the high command, and high command, in my opinion, tends to live in a delusion. So that doesn't work if you have a competitor like Bharatiya
yesterday,
Janata.
a Congress leader told me that the focus is only on roadshows and rallies and not really on building the organization or rebuilding it in places where it has actually lost momentum. Is that true about the Congress party? Because we hear so much about Mohammed Ki Dukaan, hear so much about roadshows and these huge rallies and visits of Rahul Gandhi to isolated, deprived communities, which are all like really remarkable. But clearly, the nuts and bolts of politics, the organization, is that where the Congress needs to focus on?
Absolutely. Even the road shows are missing in Jammu and Kashmir. I mean, on the contrary, even the road shows are missing in Jammu and Kashmir. Even they would have done it seriously, the party may have got 1 or 2 seats. So the point you are making is absolutely right. The party doesn't have a coherent policy in how to go about it. Mohammed Ki Dukaan, I mean, the Rahul Gandhi's TRP may have gone a bit. I mean, it got reflected in the last parliamentary results, but the ground realities are entirely different. Why the people are not reposing faith in the Congress party? That's a serious thing. I mean, the entire Jammu region, not a single Hindu seat has been won by the Congress, and that can extrapolate in a very serious manner across the rest of the country, and that's a serious thinking the party has to do.